That's an important thing, that you label your trays when you're starting your seedlings. The next thing that I'm going to study and work towards is how to save your seeds, because that's going to be a real political issue now, as Monsanto is trying to use their chemically mutated seeds so that they kill all the other seeds, and only their seeds will survive, or not even survive. You can't use them over. You got to keep buying them every year, and so there will be no seeds available to save, and so they'll have control over the food supply. So it's really, really important to start saving seeds. With potatoes, you don't have to. You use the potato for the seed. Things like tomatoes and cucumbers, however, you need to let the fruit rot usually, and the seeds will be ripe at the end of the year when that fruit is rotted. Rinse it all down, rinse all your seeds down, put them on a paper towel, keep them warm and dry, and the next year they'll be ready to go. That's not true for all seeds. Like I say, I'm not an expert, just a farm boy, and realizing that they did know something when I was a kid. Say, I'll never be a farmer, because I got to do all the fun stuff like baling hay and cleaning out poop and stuff like that. Poop, that's another important thing. Let's forget about poop. And I just assume when I say compost, everybody knows compost. But it really is an important part of the ecosystem. If we can put it all together, and I haven't went down to your greenhouse yet, but I'm sure you're already aware of some of these techniques to one thing leads off another. I mean, chickens take care of bacteria that the cows leave. If you're going to have cows, you should have chickens too. The one that I'm most interested in, I was hoping to do a slideshow, but I don't want to monkey with it. But if you want to check out some of the photos, I've got a whole collection of different garden ideas. The one that we'll probably implement the quickest is the pallet, the skid garden. You take an old skid, you throw it on a vacant lot, and you fill the cracks up with dirt, and you got 3 or 4 rows of plants. And the wood will help keep the moisture on it and help the garden grow. I mean, any garden, you got to keep an eye on the weather, and if there's no rain for 3 or 4 days, you got to get over there and put some water on it. That's the most important thing. That's why the giveaway gardens are a good idea to get people involved. Is all they got to do is add water, and they will see how they can get whatever radishes or cucumbers fresh, and how much cooler that is to go out and pick your own.
When you do the skid, where do you plant the seeds?
The dirt is in between the boards and filling up inside of the skid. But you have a row this big. Hey, just put it right in the you got about a 3 or 4 inch gap between each board. Now, some skids are solid, but most of them are every other board, and so that makes it nice for little rows. Also, you can take these and make vertical gardens out of them. You put a couple of boards along the underside there and set up against the wall, and you can have terraces, little shelves of plants going vertically. And this is a big deal with space conservation. My big dream right now is to do a greenhouse as soon as I find my own little farm that hopefully looks even partly as nice as this, and do a small greenhouse. It's cheap to build a greenhouse. Sticks and plastic. It's plentiful materials and easy to build, and you can put in like 100-gallon fish tanks and grow tilapia and be able to have hundreds, if not thousands of pounds of fish, depending on how big you want to make your operation, to sell every year, along with the greens grown vertically. The fish poop goes in top in the plants clean the soil, and the whole cycle goes round and round. You don't have to clean fish tanks, you don't have to buy fertilizer. There's a lot of things you don't have to do that we did have to do. I remember farming as really stinky, crappy work because I got to shovel the barns a lot. That's not true anymore. If you use your brain, all animals, they consume at one end, but they also poop. And so all the animals on your farm can do their part. I mean, chickens are great because they get eggs too, but they're more important on a farm for the bacteria control, really. I've seen the newest thing in the chickens is the portable chicken house. Put it on a 2-wheel trailer, and you take your chickens to this field for this day, and they work on that field, usually following the cows. You just move your grazers around in a circle, and you follow the chickens behind them. And chickens are really happiest when they are being a chicken, and they can really become into their chickenness, if you will.
Express their chickenness.
Yeah. And oneness with that which makes us happy. And most of us are happy if we're eating and sleeping, And so that's why I want to start with food. And so we're going to keep working on that. Oh, one more little idea. Arts and crafts is the sub-irrigated planter. And I invite you to go and find your 2-liter bottle or less and make one. They're very easy to recycle planters, and these are really great because it's like you can leave your plants for weeks at a time without watering them because you got a water supply underneath them. You put an old t-shirt or wicking material of any kind up in the dirt, put your dirt in there, and you got a couple of holes in here to keep it ventilated. But you can fill this up with water and snap it right down in there. And you can have a beautiful window box planter that will stay watered for weeks, depending on what kind of plant and how thirsty it is. But you can go away for vacation and not have to hire somebody to water your plants. And they're free. Well, not free, but I guess they're free.
What kind of plant would fit in there?
Any tomato plant even. If anybody would like to start a planter to take home, we've got basil and cilantro for the herbs, and we've got cucumbers and radishes for vegetables, and you're welcome to spoon out as many. They're all ready to go, seedlings, and you just put them in there, plant them, and water them, and they will grow. There's already poop in there. I used guano, bat poop. And so wash your hands after you're done digging in the dirt. But I invite anybody that is of the arts and crafts mind. Lots of cool arts and crafts. We've also got tent making and button making and sign making and all that kind of stuff. So Sealy, if you want to get into more handicrafts, I do have tons of information on the computer. Some of it printed out. I'm going to grab one of these tables in there and just start laying out some of the different literature that I've come across. So there's some fascinating stuff. One good trick was the edible grass. You can take a regular lawn that's been destroyed year after year by, True Green or whatever, and there are certain types of vegetation that will grow in the lawn. If you just grow it about 4 or 5 inches long instead of down to 3 inches, keeping it short, a little bit longer, and you can grow all kinds of salad fixings. I mean, dandelions is your first thing. Dandelions, very edible. The tubers, the roots are edible as well as the leaves for salads. Even the flowers, you can make mead, make wine out of them, dandelion wine. So that's a real edible grass plant in your front yard. You can still keep mowing your lawn. There's going to be enough dandelions there to make salad anytime you want. There's a whole slew of other plants, and I don't know where it's at right now, but when I sort through this paperwork, I'll have it out here and take a look at that, and maybe take a section of your lawn you don't want to mow so often. It's got good sun exposure, and grow an edible lawn. I think that would be the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And, best part we didn't even get to, we'll save that for this afternoon, is seed bombing. I did find a 10-pound block of clay. Oh, it's over here by the fire, keep it warm so it's soft. And so we can make up seed bombs. You can make seed bombs for any prescription. I've just done wildflowers to, make flowers wherever we go. I love the idea of putting them in potholes on the roads, cracks in the parking lots and stuff like that, and have flowers coming up in unusual places. But they can go anywhere. Just compost, clay, and seeds, and we'll do that at the table where it's a little neater, and we'll make up a whole bunch of seed bombs for everybody to take home, and you can toss them out the window on the way home.
We call it guerrilla gardening.
Guerrilla gardening, that's right. Yeah. And in fact, I had one on that. The old days of guerrilla gardening, they were using. That was before that they realized that how everything mattered. They were using Christmas ornament bulbs and water balloons, latex water balloons, and they would pour in Miracle Grow in the water balloons, and so they were spreading toxicity actually, but we're a little more. I've got a new one. People use eggshells, very ecology-minded. Blow out eggs for decorations. Well, you can fill them with seeds, and they make great delivery systems for seed bombs. So, yeah, I got lots more information. I'll lay it out on the table so everybody can get a look. And if you've got your computer here, you can download all kinds of information if you like. So, any questions?
For the self-irrigating thing, didn't you want to paint it so that you're not getting algae on the...
Actually, you're right. The opaqueness will keep the light out, and you'll get a lot less of that. You say, yeah, you're right. Absolutely. I hadn't thought that far ahead of you. Absolutely right. Yeah. I got a question for somebody. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I use a product called Super Thrive, and it's a plant hormone. and if anybody knows or will find out, is using a plant hormone. Is that non-organic? Mostly I use it for seedlings because it helps propagate the germination of seeds. But I don't know if that makes it non-organic. This is becoming a real problem now. The one article I just saw the other day, when you go to get compost from a farm and they say, oh, free compost, you just bring it back and take it for free. Find out where their cows are grazing. The poop from the cows is going in the compost, going in the organic garden, and contaminating it. They are getting chemical residue from the compost even. That's how saturated our system is with contaminants now. And so to be truly organic, that's why I asked the question about the hormones. I don't know. It's just vitamins and plant hormones, but I'm not sure if that's non-organic or not. So that's one of the questions I will be learning in the future. But and seed saving.
Plant hormones are considered pesticides.
Are they?
Yes, they are. They're regulated by a commercial.
I don't care what the rule makers think stuff is.
Well, no. But they are categorized.
Right. But they categorize marijuana as a freaking Class C drug, too, and I know better.
I know. But if you're a commercial applicator,
Right.
they fall into
Right. I have no doubt, yeah.
what we are regulated
Yeah, well,
on.
they're trying to say that they got a patent on salmon now, too, so. But what I want to find out is from the organic gardeners if that is something that is allowable and still organic or not. I'm thinking probably not, but I've been using it for a while now, and it really does get these seedlings. I just did these seedlings, 4 days ago, and they just popped it up, and so I get better success with it. But I will quit using that if I find out otherwise. But, any other questions?
I have a question back on this turned upside down top. Where's the plant?
You take the top and you put it inverted, and the dirt goes in here, and so it
With a wick.
But I'm not growing something upside down, right?
No. These are not. This is just a regular pot.
It's going to come out the top.
Yeah. It's like a pot that you fill up the tray, and you can see when the water goes down.
Yeah.
Same idea, only it's contained. Now, another thing you can do with these, I haven't tried yet, but I thought would be kind of cool, is you could use 2 bottles to make one, so that you have yet another dome. And if you use a domed planter, you can do a lot more cool stuff, because you're that environment, for seedlings especially. So, you can, the warmth and stuff. The temperature is another big thing on germination stuff. You got to keep it warm if you're germinating seeds. In this room would work. That room, maybe not.
It's on seed.
Right.
Your lettuces.
Right. Some are more sensitive.
Germinate in cooler soil than tomatoes or whatever.
Mostly what I want to get across to people is it's so important that we start teaching people how to garden again, but it's also cheap. You don't have to spend a fortune.
2 questions. What do you use for your wick? And I wanted to know what a skid was.
Oh, skid or a pallet, shipping wood platform that most of our products come and go on skids, and they are readily available, sitting behind most every factory or whatever. Any place that has skids coming in all the time, going out, and they keep a lot of them, but they also throw out a lot of them. And so for what we're using them for, it doesn't matter if they got a broken board.
You can get them on Craigslist. What do you use for the wick?
T-shirt. On that paper, it said some specific wicking material that you can find somewhere, and I didn't have time to run it down. But anything that will wick the water, and an old T-shirt will work fine. I'm sure you can find something for better. But again, I want to really stress the reuse theme of stuff that's already available and the inexpensive way you can make good soil. Now, that starts in the compost. My ultimate goal is in giveaway gardens is not just to give away and say, here, you can grow potato, but to show people how to work their compost in a 2 or 3 year cycle so that they can produce their own soil. See, this is where the magic really is in the soil. It's a living entity. The soil is it's active biologically if it's going to grow, if it's rich and fertile, and you can do that with all the stuff we throw away, our orange peels and whatever.
Don't compost citrus because it propagates bad molds. You get molds that will ruin your garden that come into your compost through the citrus.
Banana peels.
Banana.
But no, you do. It's a constant learning thing because. But this also improves community. When you're going to somebody, if you're just going over to bum coffee off them, you're probably not going to go. But if you're going over to say, "Ooh, I got a new idea, and I wonder how this will work," and you go next door, and you have a common interest, and so it does build community to grow gardens. And so that's the bigger picture, of course, is community. But gardens, you can do it. You can teach other people how to do it. I've never been a real farmer. I just grew up on a farm and had forgotten, until I started thinking about it. Wow, there's all kinds of things to do. And when I looked into it, my most exciting thing is the fish pond. I'm thinking 100-gallon tank of tilapia and all the salad greens vertically, in a 6-foot square area in a greenhouse. And one guy got the film. He said I was like, maybe a 16 by 20 greenhouse, 10 foot high or so. And he said he had $30,000 a year income after a couple of years of getting it going. Wow. $30,000 a year income selling fish and greens
From his greenhouse.
from his greenhouse.
Permaculture.
What are you feeding the fish? Where do you think?
The fish are fed some of your greens. You freeze it, and you just take your frozen pellets and throw it in there, and they.
Where do you get the live fish?
I don't know.
I know people. I've heard people doing it.
I haven't got that far yet, but I'm sure when I get to that point, I'm sure I can find fish.
Yeah.
But
Hatcheries.
yeah,
They did it for purpose.
I really encourage everyone to watch the movie Fresh. I will run it on the computer. It's not easy to see, but you pass it around, and it's only an hour. It is the most concise about what's going on with our food industry without making people sick by seeing all the blood and guts, but also not leaving it out. It's the first documentary I've ever seen about our food problem that is family friendly. I showed it to my grandson without hesitation. So I encourage you all to watch the movie Fresh. It'll open your eyes. I don't care how long you've been working on these problems. It'll open your eyes. That's all I got.
Can I make a couple suggestions? When you talk about the fabric you're going to use, cotton's better, but if it's something you've been wearing a lot and you have put it through the rinse cycle with softener, you need to wash it good because the softener will prevent absorption of water. That's why you're not supposed to put it on your towels. And if you do container gardens and you want to make it lighter, Flower Fest has used for years to get theirs lighter, and the bottom, chunks of styrofoam. From your new computer, from new furniture, whatever. That, and the water, and just don't break it up real fine. Break it up in big chunks, and the soil will go around it, and the water will move around it, the roots will move around it, and everything else.
Cool. I'm going to go lay out some of this paperwork so everybody